Hello, Wes Lee here with the Mesonet weather report. Rainfall this past week was pretty much limited to what fell overnight on Tuesday and into Wednesday morning. Amounts were limited outside of a very narrow 1-inch band that fell from Love County up to Ottawa County. There were fractions of an inch west of this line and a little heavier amounts east, with totals coming in around a half an inch. And has been the case lately, almost no rainfall in the driest areas of the Northwest and Panhandle. Looking at soil moisture, we continue to see the have or have not line in the state. This 4-inch percent plant available water map shows near 100% in the eastern 2/3 of the state, while the Northwest and Panhandle continue on with lingering drought concerns. Looking deeper in the soil, this percentage of good moisture versus bad is easily recognized. The line from Cheyenne to Cherokee and westward have a lot of ground to make up to get back to full moisture profiles. Next week, there is some limited rain probabilities in the forecast, but keep in mind that February is usually one of the driest months of the year. You can check out all of our weather data and products on our newly released mobile-friendly website. Now here's Gary with a more detailed look at rainfall.
Thanks, Wes, and good morning, everyone. Well, as usual, we're going to start with the U.S. Drought Monitor report, which does actually have some changes on it, so let's get right to that new map. Well, we continue to see improvements across southeastern Oklahoma, at least the southeastern half of the state, basically south and east of I-44, but we also see worsening conditions up in northwestern Oklahoma. So this has seemed to be a weekly thing, improvements in the southeastern part of the state, worsening in the northwest parts of the state. So we definitely need to move some of that rain we continue to get up into northwestern Oklahoma and maybe get some changes up in that region. We're going to go on to looking at the seasonal outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center. So these will cover the March through May period, so basically the spring outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. Let's start with temperatures. We see increased odds of above normal temperatures across the entire state of Oklahoma, but especially the southern 1/5 of the state and maybe a little bit out into the far western Oklahoma Panhandle. So increased odds of above normal temperatures. Now for precipitation, we're sort of in between two areas to our southwest and northeast. To the northeast, we see increased odds of above normal precipitation, but not really approaching the state of Oklahoma, maybe a little bit up into the far northeastern part of the state. And for the southwestern part of the United States, we see increased odds of below normal precipitation. That also extends out into the far western Panhandle, so that would not be good news for those Panhandle folks that are in drought and increasing drought at least over the last year and a half. So when you combine the temperature and precipitation outlooks for spring, the Climate Prediction Center's drought outlook shows, at least for the western 1/3 of the state, climatologically speaking, that drought is expected to persist because even though we are getting into the spring months, it is still relatively dry out across the western 1/3 of the state. However, when we get over to the basically eastern 2/3 of the state, a little bit climatologically wetter. So there is some improvement and possibly drought removal expected in those areas. So good for the eastern half for 2/3 of the state, not so good for the western 1/3 of the state. So springtime is approaching. Hopefully our wettest part of the year will come through and we'll actually see some of that rain spread over into western Oklahoma and kill some of the drought in that region. That's it for this time. We'll see you next time on the Mesonet Weather Report.